Souza, by the way, and this is my friend Keisha Lopez. We are on KWTX News 10 in the morning. She is for right now, at least.
For right now, I am.
Yeah. Well, and we're going to bring up two ladies who are, by the way, they look exactly the same they did, probably as you've last seen them. You may have seen some of their more recent work, but if you haven't, they look exactly like they did when they were on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. We have Daphne Reid and Karyn Parsons. Don't get too comfortable. These are loners. Ladies, I guess the first question, you see events like this, and you see all these people here that come to see you, and I think it just kind of speaks to the footprint that you guys left through that show, and you have left through your careers. What is it like, I guess, Daphne, we'll start with you, to come out and you see these people, I mean, they're part of your legacy, the impact. What does it mean for you to be a part of something like that?
I have the pleasure of having worked in this business for 40 years. And it's wonderful to see that what I have done as fun and my work has had a positive impact on the industry itself, but on people in general. Because I'm always tried to bring my integrity and truth to the roles that I play. So I have nothing to be ashamed of. And if I make a positive impact, just keep it going for generations. And we're on our 3rd generation for Fresh Prince now.
Yeah.
Y'all keep watching.
Karyn, how about you?
Yeah. Well, I think I have to say, echo a little bit of what Daphne was saying, in that we were having so much fun. You know, we were up there, and I mean, for me, I felt like I was going to work, and I was just having such a good time. I was doing what I loved. I was acting, and I was fortunate enough to be among people that, and acting with people who I really looked forward to seeing every day, which is rare. I think it's rare for everybody. It's definitely
in
rare.
general.
It's rare in the acting world. It's rare in most situations for most people. So we were really fortunate. And people used to come to the sets and say to us often, "You guys don't know what you have here. You don't know what you have here." And it's true, we had something special that you don't find everywhere. But just the fact that all of that translated, not just with good episodes, but with something more that people have taken and that's carried from generation to generation. Because I think it is, yes, the writing was it was wonderful writing, and I think we had, everyone's talent, I think, was also there. But when you have that kind of connection and you're enjoying yourself so much, it leaps through the screen, and I think people really can feel that love and that just that true feeling that we had, and I think that's a lot of the success of the show. And to be a part of that is just amazing.
So both of your characters were very memorable. Talk to me about the audition process. What was that like?
Well, yeah, she's got a very unique one. I'll tell mine first.
Yeah, do hers first.
Because hers is very unique. Mine was long. I auditioned so many times. I auditioned for the assistant of the casting director, just a regular, audition for this thing with a rapper. They were just like, oh, it's this thing with this rapper. They didn't have a title yet. It was like the Fresh Prince Project or something. And I did know who he was from Parents Just Don't Understand. But I was like, oh, this is gonna be stupid. I mean, I liked him well enough, but I thought a sitcom, that just sounds dumb, but okay. And so I auditioned for the assistant to the casting director, and for me, when I first auditioned, the character of Hillary was supposed to be a model type. And I was not a model type, and so I had to figure out, like, okay, no, you're sweet, I know better. So I had to figure out, I had to reach into my arsenal and figure out, like, what do I have that I can show up with? And that's where her kind of affectation and all of this stuff came, because it made sense for me and it gave me something, because I was not gonna get it by being some model, thing. But then I auditioned for, like I said, the assistant to the casting director, the writers, the producers, Quincy Jones, And then I think I went to the studio and then network. Like I had a lot of callbacks and a lot of auditioning. And it was nerve-wracking in the end because the network audition was like there were 2 Uncle Phils auditioning, there were 2 Hillarys auditioning, there was like 2 actors for all of the parts. And then I was fortunate enough to be chosen to play Hillary. But like I said, her story,
All right, let's
as we all know, her story is a little bit different.
Yeah, I'm the other one. I was asked to audition for Fresh Prince when it first started. And I had just come off of 2 series with my husband and a talk show. Tim Reid. And I was exhausted. And we were getting ready to move from California to Virginia. So they came and said, well, we got an audition for you for a sitcom with a rapper. I said, a rapper? No, thank you. I'm not crazy about rap. So I went on, I never did the audition, and I went off, and that fall, when the show came on, I'm at my farm in Virginia, having a nice time, resting. What a cute show. So I said, oh, well, I blew that one. And 3 years later, they called me at the farm. They said, we're having an audition for the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I said, I'll be there in the morning. So I flew there, and I had to audition against about 200 other women who wanted that job. Now, I didn't know what the situation was at the Fresh Prince. I just knew there was a job opening. That's all I was going for, the job opening. And I auditioned 2 or 3 times and got callbacks. And then I got to audition with James Avery, who played Uncle Phil. And we hit it off and had such a chemistry, and I fell in love with the man working with him because he was just such a dream. And I auditioned with him twice, and then we had to go to the network. And the network is a scary one because we know that's the last one. And there were 3 women sitting in chairs waiting to do their audition for the network. But it was in an office. It wasn't on a studio set. And the other 2 women went in and they came out. And I went in. There were people sitting on file cabinets. There must have been 20 people in this little office. And I went in and I said, oh, it's my birthday. Oh, hi, thank you for the party. And James was there, and I got to audition with him again. And then I had to go home and we had to wait for the answer. And that was the longest 12 hours I ever spent because I really wanted that job. And they called me the next morning and said, you've been selected, and I cried. So that was my experience. I was joyful.
Yeah,
and no, I have never met the other woman. I don't know her. I don't know anything about her or what the situation was. I just went to work. And they welcomed me like I had been there all the time.
And you got to work on what was a hit TV show.
Yes, I had been on a couple of hit TV shows before that. But yes, and I got to work on a very popular TV show.
Yeah.
And was amazed at how comfortable I was with this group of people who treated me like I had been there the whole time. They were just a loving group, and I had a ball.
She's kind of lovable.
And that's what I wanted to talk about. You know, you fit right in, and the show had already taken off like a rocket ship, but there was a sense of family. You guys came off like a real family, and we're talking about not only a hit TV show, but a cultural hit. You know, what was it like for you, Karyn, to be a part of that, of something like that? I guess the question is, how did your life change?
Oh my God, my life? Well, you know, I mean, my life changed incredibly. I was auditioning and working in little, I was doing a lot of commercials and little bit parts, little tiny, quick, episodic things here and there. And I was working as a hostess at a restaurant. And, you know, I mean, actually we shot the pilot and I went back to work after we shot it. Actually, I was ecstatic when I got it. I was out of my head excited. And then we shot it and it was an amazing experience. And everyone was like, oh my God, this is gonna be a huge hit. And everyone was so happy. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I gotta go back to Delmonico's and take my shift. Because I don't know what's gonna happen with the show. I don't know if it's gonna get picked up. And Will and a few of the producers and friends of his would come by on Sundays before I would open the restaurant, and I'd be at the bar doing books and stuff, and they would come through the window and point and laugh at me. And they're like, "What are you doing here? You're out of your mind," you know. And I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen yet. So, but once it happened, of course, yeah, it changed. It changed everything, and it changed in most ways. It's been, I mean, in terms of as an actor and, you know, career-wise, it's been mostly amazing. It's opened up so many doors have been opened up to me. There have been ones that have been closed, hard shut. People would say, "Oh no, we know who she is, we know what she does," and would not open and let me in to see me for things, and that's difficult. But you know, I mean, honestly, I have far more doors open to me, even to this day, with the work that I do now. People are more willing to, because they feel a familiarity, they feel like they know me, so they're willing to take my call or to listen to me. So I have no problem with the other stuff. But it's, you know, it's life-altering, because I will forever, for a lot of people, be Hillary Banks. The good news is, I like Hillary. I don't mind. So yeah, but it was great. It was a wonderful experience.
Hillary's a great character.
Thanks.
Kind of my pseudo character in high school.
It's like everyone's guilty kind of like alter ego. Everybody's like,
Right.
yeah. I have so many people come up to me and say that. They're like, I'm just like you.
So, Carlton, can you do the Carlton?
I
Can either
can't
one
do
of
it.
you?
No, you can't.
Of course I can.
Go for it.
Go. Yeah.
I can't do it, and I'm happy to say I can't do it, so I don't have to get up and do it. Come
Neither
on.
do I. Yes, I can do it.
What did y'all do to prepare for these roles, though?
Well, show day, we danced down the halls to music. We had a great camaraderie that was just joyful. It was a joyful place to be. We would we'd do a table read on Monday, and we'd say, nah, fix it. And
Table
we'd go
read,
home.
for those of you who aren't familiar with the table read, you sit around and the whole cast and some of
And
the
the
writers, the director,
Yeah.
some of the producers will sit around the table and hear everyone read the brand new script, read their characters, read their parts, and you can hear right away if things don't work.
Right.
And
I remember one time when there was some remark about Tatiana was supposed to talk back to her mother and father. And we said, psst, wait. In the cultural houses that we come from, she wouldn't have any teeth. She responded to her parents like that. No, we're not doing that. So we had the freedom to be able to do that. But you go through the table read and you listen to it and you see where it needed tweaking and where the funny lines were supposed to be and didn't quite fall there. And then we'd all go home. And the writers would get busy and do a rewrite. So Tuesday we'd come in and we'd walk around the stage and we'd block where we're supposed to say whatever we want to say. And then we'd go to our rooms and James would listen to jazz.
Blast his jazz. We had our doors open and he was just blasting his music.
And then he'd be in there reading a book, which he always was reading. And everybody was doing whatever they did. I was in my room sewing, so I mean, I was having a good time at work. And then on Wednesday we would come in and we'd really get down to rehearsal. And then Thursday we'd come in and get dressed and do a blocking run through. And we had to hit certain marks because that's where the cameras were going to be shooting. And if you didn't hit it, they wouldn't find you. So you do the camera blocking on Thursday and kind of do a run through, and the producers heard it and everybody said, well, maybe we can tweak this and tweak all the tweaking. And then Friday we'd come in and get dressed and do an entire show from top to bottom during the day. And they'd have it in the can. And then we'd have dinner. And then we would all assemble in Will's room for a rally before we went on the stage. And then we'd get down the halls, popping and get to behind the screen. You don't see us, but the audience was there. And we would start with acoustic instruments. And we would just, a beat was going, and we were just jazzing up ourselves and the audience. And then they'd introduce us and we'd start the show and shoot it before a live audience.
We could tell your chemistry with James Avery was special, to say the very least.
It was very special.
How does something like that come together? And when do you know you have something special with another actor?
When I auditioned with him, he was a giving actor, and I felt like I was in his embrace while I was acting with him. And that is a wonderful feeling, to feel like you are connected to the person that you're acting with, not just repeating lines and talking to somebody who's not really listening to what you're saying. So it was a great bond early on, and it just got more and more and more and more. And we ultimately became very good friends. He and his wife and my husband and I would travel together, and we had a ball.
So one of the things we do in news, we have our blooper reels, when we have those moments when things don't quite happen the way they should. Can you guys remember any of the funny blooper type moments that y'all have had?
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, my favorite one, which didn't involve me, but my favorite one, and you guys have probably, some of you have seen it because they show it, but when it happened, it was the one when Will tells Carlton, I think somehow he convinces him that he killed Nia Long's character or something like that, something crazy. And he freaks out and he runs screaming out of the kitchen. Do you guys remember that? And he runs around the whole set and through all of the sets. Do you remember that? That was the funniest thing ever. I mean, we were dying because Alfonso just lost his mind. It was not planned in any way. He just started running and kept running, and he ran through the college set, and he came down, and then he went to the living room stairs, and he came down the stairs, and then he ran up the bleachers with the audience, and he ran behind the cameras, and we were just dying. We were peeing on ourselves, and it was so funny. It was absolutely, that was, to me, that was the funniest blooper thing that ever happened, because I just thought, oh my God, he's crazy for sure.
We had a lot of scripts where the lines would go up, and we couldn't stop laughing. And he'd get Alfonso especially. And everybody would crack up. And it was like, okay, yeah.
Alfonso had a rhythm of how he'd talk really fast, and he'd have a rhythm of how he was going to, but it'll cut into my trick-or-treating time. But it'll cut into my trick-or-treating time. So he'd have a way that he always said it every day that week. And then if he got ready to say it in front of the audience and he tripped over his own tongue, it became a thing that we all got the giggles because we knew what he was trying to do.
And on,
Yeah.
and we couldn't stop laughing, and he could not get the line. It took 20 minutes before we could get that line out because everybody was crying, laughing so hard.
And your show became a breeding ground for stars like Nia Long, right? And then also it became a drive-by or a drive-through for guys like Malcolm Jamal Warner. I mean, you had a lot of great guests.
And we had a lot of major guests like
Major stars.
Zsa Zsa Gabor,
Yeah.
and
Lou Alcindor,
Yeah.
we had incredible, really.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Kareem Abdul-
Yeah.
What was that? So was there a particular one that jumps out at you where you were like, wow, I can't believe we got this one, or this person want to be a part
Tom
of it?
Jones, that was
Tom
really
Jones.
cool.
Yeah.
I mean, Milton Berle, I think, really freaked me out that we had Milton Berle on our show. Although he was apparently really cranky, but I didn't work with them directly. But Zsa Zsa let me wear her ring all day long. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And I have to say, people always ask, who's your favorite guest actor to work with?
Yeah.
And Regis Philbin, for me, surprise. Regis Philbin.
There's children in here. They don't know.
Whoever knows who Regis Philbin is, yes, okay. Yes, okay. Regis Philbin was the bomb. He was so dry and so funny. He was such a good actor. He was so fun to act with. He was my favorite. He was by far my favorite.
I loved working with Tyra Banks.
Yeah, Tyra was
Wow.
awesome.
She was terrific. She had quite a charm.
Yeah.
You like that? And she went on to, do a little moguling.
What happened to her? Something happened?
Yeah, I think she moguled.
Moguled.
Yeah,
She moguled.
she moguled.
you guys are both still so beautiful. And well, Karyn, what was it like for you to be? I mean, I speak for a lot of men my age. You know, you were a crush of ours growing up. What was it like for you to be that be a heartthrob like that?
I will tell you that during the show, I could not get a date a lot of the time. And when I hear people talk about, oh, you were my crush, I'm like, well, where were you when I was looking for a date?
Guys were too nervous to ask you out. That's what you always hear, right? Yeah.
But no, that was something that was, I hear more about now than I experienced then, to be honest. It's like, it's a lot of, also like the popularity of the show. I mean, the show was popular, but we were not in the top 10. And I think the popularity of the show really hit after the show went off the air. We weren't feeling it before that. It wasn't until it was off and we were in deep syndication that suddenly that's when it started to be a thing where people started recognizing it.
Yeah, the second generation really got it.
You talk about the atmosphere on the set being like a family. Do you all keep in touch with one another? Yep. Stay in contact?
Yep.
Like Facebook message or something?
Yeah.
Weddings
and the thing is, it's what's nice is we're very much like a family. So we pick up where we left off when you see each other.
You can tell.
Yeah, it's very we were like family. It's not like friends. It's like family.
Yeah.
Speaking of family, you know, your husband Tim Reid is going to be up here in a little bit. You know, you guys. What is it like to be a Hollywood power couple like that? To be,
power couple.
Yeah, I mean, hey, sorry, I'm giving you the label because it's over. You guys have stood the test of time in Hollywood, right? Yeah, a Hollywood power couple. I mean, so what is that like to navigate Hollywood like that?
Hard work.
The peaks and the valleys, right? I mean, what is that like?
It's hard work. I mean, pioneers don't set out to be pioneers. They just want to do something different, so they go about doing it, and you get the arrows in the back and from the side. That's what pioneers say. That's what happens. You don't choose to do that. But it is grateful when you see what you have done has made a difference. And there are people coming behind you in roles that they never had before. We had department heads that we established because we got to produce some shows. Tim is a consummate director and producer. He's never got his big shot. Now you think that he's been doing a whole lot of stuff. He has never been accepted as the great director that he is. He's done one movie. Well, he's done a couple of small independent movies, but he's done one movie and people don't call him. Oh, he's not available. Well, he's waiting for people to respond to all the work that he did before. So, power couple, we've just been married a long time. And we got the privilege of working together for many, many years.
Yeah, well, it's a privilege for us to be a part of it, you know, on the other end of that, to be on the receiving end. Now, I know we have some people out there who want to ask some questions. You go ahead and raise your hand right now if you have some questions. My man in green will get to you. First one, if you wouldn't mind just saying your name first so Daphne and Karyn will know who they're talking to, and then your question. Over there, ladies.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth, and I watched the show before, and it was really good. But what is it like to work with Will Smith?
I've never been asked that before.
What an odd question.
Will is very much like, this is my answer. Will is very much like what you see. Like what you see on that show is Will. I mean, the only thing you guys probably don't see, but it's very evident in his career, is that he's very serious, very professional, and he's a sponge. So if he's interested in learning about something or exploring something, he's just sucking up every bit of information he can. I mean, that's how he came to be the actor that he is. He started, as he did as this rapper, flopping around on Fresh Prince, just being silly, and then he went on to being an Academy Award winning, nominated actor, not winning yet, but he's, but that's because he's such a sponge and he's very serious, but mostly you just get this generous, kind of playful guy that you see on the show.
He's somebody who respected his parents, and you could see that he was a good person with some good sense. And it shows in the way he responds to other people. And he has a respect for himself and his elders and everybody. and he gives 150% to everything that he does. Our rehearsals, we'd be clowning around and he'd be on it serious.
And after stuff, he would go, he would, leave very casually, not make a big deal of it, and he'd kind of disappear. And the stand-in would be working with us because Will was upstairs with the writers and producers making sure that they got stuff right that we had problems with. He wanted to make sure that our voices were heard. He wanted to make sure the scripts were the best that they could be. I mean, he really took it. And lunch, when we were off having fun and going out to lunch and stuff, Will was staying back and working a lot of the time.
He is a businessman.
I'm happy you mentioned he respects his parents, and you mentioned he was a serious actor and is a serious actor. Just recently, I think it was like the 25th anniversary of the show with his father, when he addressed that issue. What was, and that went viral again. I mean, what was it like? Do you remember that? I mean, at the time, did you say, "Whoa, this is a moment," or this guy's taking off?
Well, I remember when he did 6 Degrees of Separation, and he came back to the set, and James and I guess all of us were sitting on the couch with him and said, "You didn't commit to that character." And he said, "I know. I didn't want the brothers in the hood to, talk." And James got on him and says,
In the movie, just so you know, in the movie, Will plays a gay guy.
Yes, you take the role, you commit to the character. And he has never forgotten that.
Wow.
So he respects anybody who gives him good information.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, any question right there? Go ahead, stand up.
It's more of a statement than a question. I just want you guys to realize that you guys played a very, very important part in my life when I was down in Afghanistan. Just long hours and hard work and whatnot, but you guys reminded me of home. You guys made me feel special with everything that you guys did on the screen, and I really want to say thank you.
And we say thank you to you for your service.
Thank you for your service. And thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah. We weren't putting our life on the line. You were. We were just having fun.
Go ahead, buddy. Yeah.
Hey Hillary, I'm Isaiah. Do you have any children?
Do I have any?
Yes.
I do. I have a 16-year-old daughter and a 12-year-old boy.
Are they in, Are they in show business or are gonna be?
I don't know.
It's okay.
I know. Okay, so they have both acted in a film before. Actually, they've acted in 2 films before of their fathers. Their dad's a director. And so they've worked in those films, and my daughter has worked in an additional short film. So they've done some stuff before, but we are really careful about show business and about being out there in it. I think we're more interested in them really, if they're, like my son doesn't want to do it at all. He can't stand it. Like he's really good, and he would do these amazing takes, and as soon as they say cut, he's like, "I think you're asking a lot of me, Dad. I think I need to go. I've been here for a long time." So he doesn't want to do it at all. My daughter is on the fence about whether she wants to or not, but it's really important to us that they, if they really want to do it, that they study, but that they get to be kids and have a life, not just jump into something like that, because what are you going to have to offer anyway if you haven't had a childhood? So we're really careful about that. I know it's really appealing to a lot of people, but what's most important is that you have the joy of the thing and that you're not trying to do it for any other reasons like fame, things like that aren't real. So we're real careful with that.
What drew both of you to acting, and when did you start? What age?
I guess what my mother said, I started at 3. I was in high school and was at a workshop on Saturdays. It was just a fun thing to do on Saturday, and it was a place called the Group Theater Workshop with Robert Hooks, and it became the Negro Ensemble Company. But we were working all over New York and doing little skits and things and dramatic readings at different venues. And that was in the 60s. And I knew at that time that there was no way that a black woman could make a living doing this. So this was not on my agenda. So I went to college and I studied I started to be a teacher, and then I decided, no, I'm going to be interior design and architect. So that's what I studied. That's what I went to college for. But during that time, I got discovered as a model, and was the first black woman on the cover of Glamour magazine, and then was taken by Eileen Ford, the modeling agency, and did a lot of different editorial bookings and things. I was never tall enough to walk the runway, so I never got to do that. But she said, you're gonna get paid to smile, I can do that. So I smiled my way through a career, and then was discovered by Robert Conrad doing a show in Chicago in 1978, I think it was. And he did a series there called The Duke, and he hired me to play a part and hand wrote me into the program, into the show. And I kept working on that show, and then when I moved out to Los Angeles, he was doing another show. He said, come, I got a part for you, and I was able to get an agent. So that's my career has been more kismet than me trying to be an actress. And I landed in Hollywood in the early 80s when they were looking for somebody like me. So I worked a lot. I mean, Hill Street Blues, the A-Team, all sorts of little old programs that y'all don't know nothing about. So I worked a lot, and then I met Tim, re-met Tim, because I had known him for years in Chicago, and did an episode of WKRP.
Yeah.
And
oh yeah.
Then met his friends and the writers and things. So when they moved on after that show to Simon and Simon, oh, come play his girlfriend. Okay. And my career was following Tim around. And then Tim developed a show called Frank's Place, and he put me in that show. So I had a career that was handed to me. I didn't kick down doors. I was blessed. I accept my blessing, and I was able to take advantage of the opportunities that were given to me because I was prepared to do it.
Daphne, I want to ask you real quick follow-up.
Yes.
What was it like when you saw your face on that Glamour magazine?
It was a surprise to me because the one picture that ended up on the cover of the magazine was something I shot in like 15 minutes. I used to fly between Chicago and New York to do editorials when you could fly on United Airlines for $25 round trip. So I would go to New York and work for a couple of hours and then go back to school. So I got called in to just pull your hair over to the side, sit on the window right there, and the guy came in and shot about a half a roll of film, and I left and went back to school. I'm walking down the street, and on the newsstand, that was my picture. I was stunned.
Yeah. Wow.
And didn't know I was the first.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I started declaring that I was going to be an actress when I was 6. We had this bookmobile and this little book. I got a book called Small Plays for You and a Friend, and I was hooked playing the 2 parts for my mom. And I just was, that was the beginning of it. And then really in terms of like, I was saying it and I was sure of it. And then I ended up, as I got a little bit older, trying to get involved in whatever I could do in local theater, which was, since they were always adult productions, it was like making the playbill or volunteering to work on sets or costumes or something like that. I'd volunteer. And then I ended up in a workshop and was working really hard in a workshop, an acting workshop, and learning. And it wasn't just plays anymore, it was actually kind of seriously learning craft, etc. And I loved it. And one day, an agent came into class, and I was doing a scene from Sybil. I don't know if anyone knows Sybil. Multi-personality. Which Sybil? Which one? For those of you who don't know, it's about a woman who had multiple personalities. She had like 16 personalities or something. And so I was doing a very obviously dramatic scene, as they all were. And he happened to be there on a night when it went really well. And, from that, and he started sending me out on stuff, and I got a lot of commercial work. I got the horror film You know, everybody's got one of them. No, you might not, but most people have those in their back pocket. I have
do.
a.
I have
you
a horror film.
You do.
I shot it about 5 years ago.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
I'm wacko crazy.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah, so I did the horror film. I did a bunch of, stuff like that, and did little episodic stuff. And then I got this little sitcom, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air thing.
Yeah, we've heard of it. Yeah. How about question? Okay, over there, bud.
So I love your show. I think it's pretty great. I'm on season 4 and I'm continuing, planning to finish it. And I think it's great how somebody else already asked how it was to work with Will Smith. Personally, he's one of my role models and I love all his work. And I was just wondering if you guys keep in contact with him and other actors still, and what were some of your favorite scenes that you've played with him during your time on The Fresh Prince?
Yeah, we all do keep in contact still, I'm happy to say. I mean, I wish I could see Will more often, but it used to be once a year. Now it's like once every 2 years maybe, because he's kind of busy. He's busy, he's hard to hold down.
I can't pull up a favorite scene with Will. I loved working with him. I mean, I don't.
It was a lot of fun.
What's it like when you see him? Like an embrace, like you never left him, like like.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like we pick up where it really is
Yeah.
picking up where you left off.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I do with Will is I'm always like, I'm not gonna let you go because I know once you're gone, I'm not gonna see you for 2 years. So I'm always like, stay here. But yeah. Otherwise, I mean, it's like picking up where you left off.
Yeah.
It really is, and we're like family. We're very easy with each other. We went through something really incredible together, and it was a major love affair for all of us. It really, really was. It lasted for 6 years, but it was so bonding. It was, it was not a, like we said
It
before.
wasn't flip.
It was, yeah, it was not
wasn't just a job.
It was
Yeah.
something. It was very deep relationship that we all forged during that time.
It's funny when you mentioned you guys weren't at the top of the ratings because that's what people assumed
I know.
that you were. It's almost like when you look at who won an Academy Award one year, but there was one film that was the best, but didn't win the
Right,
award.
right.
That's kind of like The Fresh Prince. I mean, it had such a long-lasting impact.
Yeah, well, that's the reward, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's like being in the top 10 wasn't the thing. It's
Yeah.
the fact that
Syndication.
yeah,
Yeah, oh,
and,
yeah.
and then it transcends. It's like generation after generation after generation. I mean, I can't tell
We're
you
on
how
number
many people
3.
say it was my favorite show growing up, and now it's my 5-year-old's favorite
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
And that to me is such a reward that it's affecting people. Year after year, new people they see it and it hits them somewhere, and I feel like, wow, we were really communicating something, we were really sharing something, and that's really special to be a part of.
Yeah, for sure. Question right now. There you go.
Oh my gosh, I'm nervous. Okay. Hi, I'm Layla.
Hi.
But this is gonna be this is a question for both of y'all. But it's weird, okay? Okay, anyways. But if y'all were hats, whose head would y'all be on?
If I were a hat, whose head would I be on?
Yeah.
In the world or on the show?
Anybody. Like anybody.
If I was a hat, I wear hats all the time. If I were a hat, whose head would I? Why would I be on somebody's head? Let's start there. Michelle Obama. I want to look at her husband a lot.
Yeah.
No, my answer was Jason Momoa. Sorry. You want to be on his wife's head? No.
All right, we got time for a couple more questions. Go ahead, bud.
Hello, ladies. Good to see y'all again.
Good to see you.
Y'all remember my name, right?
Yeah. He was standing there at our
When
table
we showed
before
up
we
this
even
morning.
got here today.
Oh,
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Yo, my name's Will, too. And I just want to ask you guys, now, The Fresh Prince turns 30 years old next year. So, do you know if any of the other cast members are going to make appearances at any Comic-Cons?
Oh,
I think Tatiana's going to come to another one.
Tom probably will.
Yeah. I don't know whether Alfonso is got time to
Alfonso
do it
is
now.
very, very busy. I mean,
Yeah.
I know Ta wants to, but I know she's also going to have her hands full.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I think Joseph's supposed to be trying to do some stuff.
Maybe he'll see us in London.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's across the pond. Yeah, I don't know.
Don't know.
Yeah, I know Tatiana's supposed to be, and Alpha's busy, and you know Will's kind of no.
He ain't coming.
He's not coming. Yeah, I wouldn't count on that one.
Yeah.
Next question, where we at? Okay.
Oh,
Hey.
a mini-me. Okay.
Hello.
Hello. My name's Catalina. I have a question for both of y'all. What is your favorite episode?
Tough question.
It's not my favorite, but it's my most memorable one. And it would be the final episode, because we all had a very hard time getting through that episode because we kept crying. We didn't want to leave each other. And we knew that it was going to be the last time that we would be doing that together. It was very, very difficult.
I remember so well when I had my last scene and I had to walk off, and it was so hard because I kept thinking, just mess up, because we do bloopers all the time. So I was like, just mess up, like do a twirl or like walk the wrong way or say something. And I just kept walking, and as I was walking, I remember thinking, Karyn, stop, Karyn, stop, Karyn, stop. And I just kept walking, and then I was done, and I couldn't do anything about it. I was like, I couldn't run back, and it was, and it was over. It was that was a terrible feeling.
Yeah.
I remember it very well.
Yeah, one of my favorites would be my first as well, because it was a funny scene that Jazz came in to bring a present to the new baby who had arrived, and his line, "Oh, Aunt Viv, you sure look different since you had that baby." And I love that they just shot Will looking straight at the camera, which he's looking at you going, and just moved on, and that was all that was said.
Just a little wink.
And it was the best way to transition that I could have imagined.
I think I was just going to say, in terms of my favorite episode to shoot, for me, it was because it was interesting and informative, was the episode where Will and Carlton blackmailed my character. I learned just how much people hated Hillary, or how she got under their skin anyway, because when we shot it in front of the live audience, and it was really fun to shoot, like all of it was just really fun, and the barking at the table scene was hilarious and fun to shoot. But even before that, when I tell Carlton, oh my, Will's doing this, he's making me wash his dirty drawers, and this whole oh God, and he turns to me and he says, will you clean mine? And he turns on me. The audience, they didn't just clap or go, woo! They were stomping in the stands like crazy. They were so happy that I was getting mine. And if you see the episode, we hold for so long because they are cheering me getting mine. So that they cut back to me, and you can see me trying so hard not to smile in the scene because I'm going, oh my God, they hate me. But it was a really fun show, but it was also like, wow, she bugs people.
She gets under people's skin.
Yeah.
All right, question, go ahead, stand up and, oh, there you go.
Hello, my name is Charles Nimmons,
Hi,
and I was always wonder, why did Trevor go out the way he did?
Oh, that was rough, man. Whoa. That was rough. Yeah, we came back from break, and he was such a great, Brian Stokes Mitchell was who played Trevor, was so fun to act with. He was such a great guy. He's gone on to be a multiple Tony Award winning actor, so he's fine. He's on Broadway doing, But it was so hard. It was like, the script was hilarious. It was bittersweet because, you were laughing reading the script, but it was really sad because it was like, oh, I guess Brian's not coming back. That was fun. They had, the sound department had a lot of fun with the cast when we had to react. Remember that?
Yeah, watching the TV and wondering,
And then they kept doing they kept like they bite into an apple to make a sound effect when he hit.
Splat.
Or they just kept trying different things and having our expression. You know, listening. It was kind of gross.
It was sad.
Well, it's sad right now because, ladies, this is all the time we have with you.
Oh.
We thank you guys so much for making the impact on all of us that you have.
Well, thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Karyn Parsons and Daphne Maxwell Reeds, give a big hand for them.